History made at Bristol Motor Speedway.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and they haven't put dirt on Bristol in 20 years, so we figured that we would just go for the experience.
A 12-year-old testing himself on the dirt alongside the biggest names in the sport.
I'm just trying to defend the position because I don't want to get passed so I can win.
Starting in the pole position, there is no looking back as he takes us to the heart of his story in this special American Drive. Episode 75, Bristol Boy Wonder, Trey Mills, The Future. So when I was a kid, it seemed like all the race car drivers and pro golfers were older guys. Over the years, as I age, they seem to be getting younger and younger. Well, you're about to meet a preteen driver already dubbed The Future, even though he only has a couple of feature wins under his belt so far. Race day, Bristol Motor Speedway, Bristol, Tennessee. The last time this NASCAR track was covered in dirt, Trey Mills wasn't even born. Now 12, the young man from Florida shocked the racing world by coming to the big stage to compete against the best of the best. NASCAR drivers getting their chance to work the dirt too. Some he hopes to compete against someday on asphalt tracks as he gets a little more experience under his belt. He is about to take us through the race that will probably end up being a monumental moment in his budding career, as this polite and determined young man is keeping his feet on the ground, talking with me about his run at making a little history and making lots of noise at Bristol and beyond along the way. What age did you start racing and kind of what motivated you to get started?
I started racing when I was 6, and my dad raced before I was born, so he's always said whenever I was born I was going to be a racer.
So when you first got in the car, do you remember your first race when you were 6 years old? And that was in a go-kart, right?
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
It was definitely something that I had to get used to because I was only 6, so that was the first thing I've really ever driven. But we practiced a lot, and I just kept trying to get better and better at it.
Did you feel that you kind of had a natural talent for it at all?
Um, I wouldn't say natural talent, but we practiced a lot, so I got pretty good at it pretty quickly because we would just practice all the time.
Did you like practice, or were one of you the kind that's like, oh man, I got to do this again today?
No, I I like racing better than practicing, but in order to be good at racing, you have to practice.
For sure. Exactly. Well, you got better and better, and within a very short amount of time, in 2020, right? Isn't that when you got your first feature win in a big size, full size car?
Yes, sir.
And where was that, and what was that like for you?
That was at Volusia, and it was pretty cool because that was a big accomplishment because I want to make it in NASCAR one day, and so I stepped up from go-karts to late models, so winning my first race was pretty cool.
What kind of looks did you get? Do you remember when you won that race and looked around you after it and kind of enjoying that moment?
Everybody was kind of shocked that I was only 11 and I won a late model race.
And what was the feeling like when you took that checkered flag?
It was super cool because like it's you never know like when anything could happen at any time, so to win that was pretty cool.
Is that part of the thrill of it for you that you never know until that final second, you know exactly what's going to happen?
Yeah, because we could have cut a tire down or the motor could have blew up, but thank goodness everything was fine and we were able to make it to the checker flag.
How close was it? Was there someone right on your tail?
I don't think so. I think I had a pretty good lead.
And you're sitting there thinking, let's just get past the finish line, right?
Yes, sir.
So then we're talking about Bristol. Tell the people that may not be familiar with that racetrack what's unique, what is different about Bristol.
It's a super fast, high bank track, so you have to have a setup. And my dad and Mr. Jason Fitzgerald, they gave me a good setup and a good car every time I hit the track.
So when you're talking about good setup, and in particular for this kind of track, tell me what a setup means and how it works on a track like this.
The nose has to be high enough so it doesn't bottom out in the corner because it's so banked, and it has to be able to be a little freer because it's more banked, so the track is going to turn you more.
So this is, if I'm correct, or you'll correct me if I'm wrong here. So this is a regular racetrack asphalt that they bring in dirt for this one event?
Yes, sir.
And that must make it kind of different too, right? Because the dirt is not going to be the same on an asphalt track as it is on some of the other tracks you've been on. What's the difference when you're driving?
Um, you're definitely going a lot faster, but the big difference is like under caution when you're going super slow and you're just like going through the turn and your whole body and your whole car is just leaning to the left.
Oh, that's got to be kind of a cool, weird feeling, huh?
Yes, sir.
So why Bristol? What made you decide that at this age, yeah, let's go try this?
Because it's a once in a lifetime experience, and they haven't put dirt on Bristol in 20 years. So we figured that we would just go for the experience.
So let's get set up for that day. Okay, I'm going to take you through that day a little bit. Were you nervous when you woke up? Were you able to sleep the night before?
Yes, sir.
And what were you feeling when you woke up that day?
I was excited to be racing on the NASCAR track.
And how many cars? Can you set the scene for us when you walked up? Were there a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of cars? Tell me what you saw.
There were lots of cars, lots of people from everywhere because they were coming for the experience too, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be racing on the same track as NASCAR.
So everybody wanted to be there too, huh? So everybody we're hoping to make a little history that day for sure. So is it true? And I heard this, and you'll correct me too on this. Were you almost DQ'd because they weren't quite sure if you were big enough in the car?
I don't think so.
All right, just there's another one of those many stories you hear after the fact. So take me through the race and tell me how you are feeling. How long is that race, by the way?
The race that I won,
Yeah,
that was 20 laps.
20 laps. How are you running? How was that feeling for you?
It was pretty cool. I started on the pole, and I'm usually good when I start on the pole because I don't have to pass a lot. I don't have to pass any cars. So I just was trying to not mess up and stay in the groove so that I can just lead the whole race and not get past.
So you kind of spent the whole time looking in your mirrors and stuff, trying to keep the guys from passing you almost the entire race. It sounds like, huh?
Yes, sir.
Now, what kind of talent does that take? People think, well, you're ahead, you just keep driving, but you had to really fend them off. So how do you go about that? What is the strategy to keep the guys from passing you?
Well, in late models, there's no mirrors. So, you just kind of have to hope that you have a good enough lead to where you can maneuver around and try new lines and stuff to see what is faster for your car.
So you're just kind of focusing on you and the track then, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's cool. So, yeah, excuse my reference to the mirrors because I knew better than that. So but I do figure you're trying to turn to left and right as much as you can. I know your head's all probably locked into position there for safety reasons, so it's kind of hard to look around. But you can feel them, can't you? Feel them back there?
Yes, sir. You can hear them too.
You can hear them. What's that feeling like for you? Is that excitement? Were you scared at all? What kind of feelings are you talking about?
I'm just trying to defend the position because I don't want to get past so I can win.
Sure. So you took the checkered. How was that different than your last feature win?
It was pretty cool because I want to race NASCAR when I grow up. So to already be winning on a NASCAR track when I'm only 12, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet it is. There's a lot of people talking about it, to be sure. So tell me about the celebration. Did you guys get to go down and take pics and people get to gather around you? Did you have time for that?
Yes, sir.
And did you drink what, celebratory milk or something? You've seen that before in some of the movies.
Um, well, in go karts, every time I would win a race, I would get a Mountain Dew. So I drink Mountain Dew.
Oh, that's cool. And were you surrounded by a bunch of supermodels too, or is that yet for the holding off to NASCAR for that for you?
Um, I'm holding off for NASCAR.
So tell me about your crew because I know someone like you, it takes a lot of hard work to get there, but you can't get there by yourself. I saw you in a photo after with about four or five other guys. Tell me who they are and what they do for you and your team.
Um, Mr. Jason Fitzgerald, he does everything for my car. He helps my dad with the setup. He tunes on it at the shop because my dad's working all day and that's what he does for his job. So he's a big help. Rob, he does the tires. Mr. Ricky, he's our engine builder. Mr. Allen, he comes and helps on the car, and just everybody else who helps out.
And tell me about the looks on their faces, okay? Because this was not only historic for you, but they just won Bristol as well. Were you looking at their faces to see just what they were kind of feeling?
They were super excited.
I bet jumping around, yelling, kind of stuff, high fives, and all that.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of fun for you to see them have that moment, huh?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel pressure at all with these guys that you're out here, you're trying to make your mark, you want a future as a NASCAR driver, and that you didn't want to do something that was going to put you in a bad position or put all that work that everybody put into in jeopardy? Did you worry about that? Did that put a pressure on you at all?
No, sir, not really. They just always tell me to do my best and have fun.
Yeah, do your best and have fun. The best advice you can get out there, huh? Hey, so after the fact, there's some guys that are probably a little bit jealous of you, some of the older guys. How do you handle that? And do your mom and dad and you talk about that at all? Some of the things that people might post or say about how you raced and how you won?
Uh, yeah, most comments were positive. There were some negative comments, but my parents just tell me that you have to move on and can't worry about the little things.
Yeah, you just got to worry about you and what you do, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell me about your nickname.
Um, I the future. I didn't
Yeah.
even know. They just told me that one day. They created it. My dad and Faith were at the shop, and I guess they just came up with that name and they put it on my car. Because I got my first late model for Christmas of 2018, and they already had a wrap on it, and it said the future on it. So we've just had the same wrap, and so they call me the future now.
That's so cool, especially for a young man with a very bright future. That's kind of a cool little name to get put on you for sure. So, what do you like most about driving and racing and being part of all this?
I like because the people you meet, you have so many good friends, and the action that goes on. Racing's action packed, and I just like the environment and everything that goes on with racing.
And I know this might be a weird thing to ask a 12-year-old, but is there a piece you find when it's just you in the car and you're on that track and you kind of know what you've been working on, you know what you're doing, you just focus in and have this piece for, hey, let's go, let's do this thing.
Yes, sir. I just kind of block out everything and just focus on the race.
Now, when you go back to school and you tell people that I win these races now, in particular, winning this big race, what do you think the reaction is going to be, or what has it been so far?
Well, actually, I didn't really tell them. They came up to me and were congratulating me because they had watched it. So it was pretty cool. They were excited for me too.
So when you got home, you must have rewatched your race with your family or whatever, right? What was that like watching yourself in a big race?
It was pretty cool. to see me leading the race at Bristol.
I bet it was. That's some video you'll hold on for a long time. Hey, before I let you go, do you have a mentor? Do you have some people that you look up to in the racing world that you kind of say, hey, I want to be like that someday?
Kyle Larson, because he can get in any type of car on any type of track environment and he can win.
And is that what you kind of like to do? Because you've been in several different environments now with different kinds of cars, and you just kind of like the challenge of what, getting the new cars and new tracks.
Yes, sir.
All right. So the future for you, since your name is the future, what is your future?
To move up in late models and move up to like supers and stuff, and then hopefully one day make it to NASCAR.
Awesome. Well, we'll be pulling for you, and we'll be watching every step of the way as you continue on the journey. And your parents are giving you sound advice. Enjoy the ride, young man, because you're doing some awesome stuff.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, also on our podcast, you'll find an interview with another big story out of Bristol, a 60-year-old driver that borrowed parts and took his old beat-up car to make a run at Bristol. Nick Stoops in the big number 74 you've probably heard so much about. And you can hear from racing legend Ken Schrader and others. There are episodes all throughout my podcast on racing and my YouTube channel as well. Please subscribe, share, help us keep growing. This is The Heart of the Story with Gary Metivier.